Hi everybody. Today we are multiplying in bases other than 10. Now you remember last time we added and subtracted in bases other than 10, and if you've not already seen that video, I really would encourage you to go watch that first, because that's how you're going to develop your understanding of the concrete model, and we're going to continue to use the concrete model while we work on multiplying. So let's go ahead and get started. Now you'll remember from the other video that I said the easiest way to work with bases other than 10 is to use the concrete model, similar to modeling with base 10 blocks. So let's just remember base 10 blocks. So first of all, you know we have units, longs, flats, and blocks. So in base 10, it takes 10 units to make a long, it takes 10 longs to make a flat, and it takes 10 flats to make a block. But how can we model multiplication? Well, the way we're going to model multiplication is to use a matrix. For example, let's multiply 12 times 27, and we'll do this one in base 10, and then what we learn here about the matrix layout, we'll take and apply that to other bases in just a minute. So 12 times 27. Well, first let's draw ourselves a frame, and then let's model 12. So this would be 1 long and 2 units. And let's go ahead and label that number so we don't forget that's 12. And then we want to model 27, so that's going to make 2 longs and 7 units, and we will label that as well. Now, what is multiplication? Well, multiplication means I need to take each block from the first number and repeat it this many times. So for each of these, I would need to put down 27 blocks here. Now you can see that if I've got a long and I repeat that this many times, I'm going to have 10 longs. Well, 10 longs together make a flat. So this long times this long makes 1 flat. Also, another way to think of it is to say that we need to put something here that is 1 long tall and 1 long wide, and of course that is a flat. And we'll do the same thing here. So we're going to have something that is 1 long tall and 1 long wide, so that makes another flat. Now what about here? Here I need something that is 1 long tall but only 1 unit wide, so that's going to make a long. Or in other words, you could think of it as we need this long repeated once for each of these units. So we'll go ahead and just repeat those. Now come down here, we have a unit. We need this unit repeated this many times. Of course, that's going to make a long there and another long here. So this is 1 unit repeated this many times. Here we've got 1 unit times 1 unit. So I'll need to put a unit for each of these. And we'll do the same thing for this last unit here. So now you can see we have each of these blocks repeated 27 times. And now the fun part, we need to do the regrouping. So we're in base 10, so it takes 10 units to make a long and 10 longs to make a flat and 10 flats to make a block. So we'll just start circling here. Let's take these 10 units and put them together, and they will make 1 long. Now I'm going to cross this out so I don't accidentally reuse those. And let's see what we can do with our longs. Here we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 longs. We'll put those 10 longs together and they will make a flat, and we'll cross out the longs that we've already used. And now we don't have enough flats to make a block, so I think now all of our regrouping is done, and we can say that 12 times 27 is 3 flats and 2 longs and 4 units. So 12 times 27 is 324. Now notice that I don't have a base written down here because we know that we're almost always working in base 10, so whenever we're in base 10 we don't have to label the base. When we go to other bases in just a minute, we will have to make sure and label anytime we're working in a base that's not base 10. Okay, so let's try modeling 21 base 5 times 42 base 5 using that matrix layout that we just were using. So we'll start with a frame. Now this time, because we're in base 5, remember that our longs are going to be 5 by 1 sets of units, and our flats are going to be 5 by 5 sets of units. But that doesn't make any difference to how we lay things out in our matrix layout. So we'll still model using units, longs, flats, and blocks. And so 21 is going to be 2 longs and 1 unit. And 42 is going to be 4 longs and 2 units. Now, to fill in our matrix, we need something here that is 1 long tall and 1 long wide. So of course that's a flat. And we'll do the same thing here, 1 long tall and 1 long wide. And then here I have a unit, so I need this to only be 1 unit tall, but I need it to be a long wide. So we have this 21 repeated here for this long. Now we need to do the same thing for this long, and for this one, and for this one. And here I only need these to be 1 unit wide. So 1 long tall but only 1 unit wide. That's going to give us a long, long, and a unit there. And for this one, the same thing. And now let's see about our regrouping. Now remember, this is where it's different from base 10 because we're in base 5. So now it only takes 5 things to make the next place value. I have 2 units, so that's okay. But I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I have more than 5 longs. So I'm going to need to take 5 longs and put them together to make a flat. And of course, don't forget to cross out the ones you've already used. Now, I have more than 5 flats. So I'm going to need to gather up 5 flats and make a block. And I think that's all the regrouping we can do. So now let's go ahead and state our answer. 21 base 5 times 42 base 5 is 1 block, and 1, 2, 3, 4 flats, and 1, 2, 3 longs, and 2 units. Base 5. So 21 base 5 times 42 base 5 is 1432 base 5. Let's try this again, and I'm going to encourage you to pause the video and try this one by yourself and see how you do. And now that you've had a chance to do it on your own, let's go ahead and do it together. So of course 32 base 5 is going to be modeled by 3 longs and 2 units. And 14 base 5 is going to be modeled by 1 long and 4 units. And now let's fill in our matrix. Here I'm going to need a flat because I need something that's 1 long tall and 1 long wide. So flat there, another flat here, another flat here, and here I only need something that's 1 unit tall, but I need it to be this wide. So that's going to make a long, and this is going to make a long right here. Now let's come do this column. So I need right here something that is 1 long tall, but only 1 unit wide. So that's going to make a long. This is going to make another long here. And right here I need something that is 1 unit tall and 1 unit wide, so I'll have a unit there and a unit here. And let's go ahead and repeat that for these other 3 units. Now we're in base 5, so let's see what kind of regrouping we can do. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 units right here that we'll put together to make 1 long. And now let's see if we can find 5 longs to make a flat. And of course we can. We have lots of longs here. So let's take 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 longs right here. And those will make 1 flat. And then let's take 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 longs right here and put those together, and those will also make another flat. And now we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 longs left, and those 5 longs will make another flat. And now we don't have any more longs. And let's see about the flats. Remember, 5 flats make a block. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 flats. We'll cross those out and make 1 block. And now let's see what we've got left. So we can now say that 32 base 5 times 14 base 5 is going to be 1 block, 1 flat, no longs because we used them all up, so we need a 0 there, and 1, 2, 3 units, and that's base 5. So 32 base 5 times 14 base 5 is 1103 base 5. Let's go ahead while we're at it and get an example in base 8. So we're going to try multiplying 24 base 8 times 17 base 8. So of course first we draw our little frame. 24 is going to be 2 longs and 4 units. So here are our 2 longs and 4 units. And then 17 is going to be 1 long and 7 units. And let's fill in our matrix. We need a flat here. A long times a long gives us a flat. And here is another long times long, so that's going to make another flat. Now here we have a unit times a long, so it needs to be 1 unit tall and 1 long wide. So that's going to make a long. Same thing all the way down. And then up here, we need something that is a long tall and 1 unit wide. So that's going to make a long. A long times a unit gives us a long. And here the same thing again. And here we have a unit times a unit. In other words, we need it to be 1 unit tall and 1 unit wide. So that's going to make a unit there, 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 and there. And we're going to repeat the same thing all the way out. The same thing for each column. And now we can start regrouping. Remember, we're in base 8, so it's going to take 8 units to make a long, 8 longs to make a flat, 8 flats to make a block. And we have a lot of units here, so we have more than enough to make a long. In fact, we're going to get several longs here. So let's take these first 8 units, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and we'll put those 8 units together and get a long. And then let's do the same for these 8 units. And then let's do the same for the 8 units here. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And that gives us a third long. And now I only have 4 units left over, so I can't get any more longs. But now we have a whole bunch of longs to deal with. So let's go ahead and pick up 8 longs, and that's going to make 1 flat. So I just crossed out these 8, but you could do any 8 you wanted to. And then let's go ahead and get these 4 longs and these 4 longs. Together that's 8 longs, and they will make another flat. And then I only have 2 longs left over. Now I have 1, 2, 3, 4 flats, so not enough flats to make a box. And I think now all of our regrouping is done, and we're ready to state our answer. So 24 base 8 times 17 base 8 is going to be 4 flats and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 longs and 1, 2, 3, 4 units, and that is base 8. So 454 base 8. And that is how you model multiplication in bases other than 10 using the concrete model.